Kayla.
Hi, I'm Beth Ann.
And this is Let's Talk BL, a Boys Love podcast.
Welcome back to the podcast. On today's podcast, I'm going to say podcast a few times.
Oh, sweet baby Jesus.
Talking
Lord have mercy.
questions.
Already a mess.
Amazing.
It's already a mess. We're less than
true.
a minute in.
We have so many questions, no answers. Okay, when you first get into BL, here's the thing. When you first get into BL, because you're watching shows of another culture, you have a whole bunch of questions already about that culture that like you're starting off with in the first place. And then once you kind of understand Thai culture and other cultures that you're watching shows of, then you just have a whole bunch of questions about like what goes on in BL world.
And BL scenarios and BL boys. And there's so many literally, I feel like my whole life is spent being like, I have questions.
Truly.
Now.
I mean, we did this in K-pop world, right? Like we kind of did this where we would talk about the boys and we would talk about the K-pop like we knew who they were. We don't know who these people are. Like you make up these scenarios, but like ultimately, like you're just guessing at what you think this person is like because they are presenting themselves as like a personality, right?
Right. Well, okay, so this is how I feel about like all celebrities, to be honest with you. Like you even in like the states where like supposedly we like know more about our celebrities or whatever, but like no. Like you're looking at like a fictionalized persona of a person that this person has built, right? And like that's true of BL world, but that's not where all of my BL questions stem from. So what we did today is we each wrote 5 questions that we feel are unanswerable, that we feel truly have no answer.
Yes.
And we have not told each other what these questions are.
I'm so excited.
You also posted it on our Instagram story. I have not looked at any of those questions. I didn't look at a single one of them.
It's very fun.
To keep myself fresh, honestly. Like I wanted my reaction to be like, I didn't want to have thought about any of the answers.
Right.
And
very fun.
So I'm coming at it totally fresh. You've been thinking about this because you looked at all the questions.
I mean, I like screenshotted the questions. I haven't been like pondering them.
But I have no answers. So we've each come up with 5 questions that we feel have no answers. I feel like the fun game here is if you feel like you have answers and you are listening, please tell us.
The internet loves to have answers to things.
The internet loves to have answers to things that quite frankly, we never asked you to answer. So
it's so good.
Today is that day. Either way, I feel like no matter what, this is going to be a mess. I don't think any of mine are hot takes, to be honest with you.
Mine aren't hot takes. Mine are like hot topics, like topics that like could cause a stir.
Oh God. Oh God. Don't get us canceled on Twitter.
Listen, I feel like, that was bound to happen.
Okay. What's your first question then? Since you're coming in hot.
Here's a fun question. What is exactly in the blue drink?
Okay, actually.
Is that on your list? Because I feel like it should.
It's not on my list because don't we have an answer?
I mean,
I found some Thai teens on the TikTok.
We have a TikTok teens answer.
I found some TikTok teens, you guys. I found some TikTok teens. Some Thai TikTok teens, in fact.
Oh my God, the alliteration. Thai TikTok teens.
And they made this blue drink, and I was like, they were just making a drink, and I was like, oh my God, it's blue. I literally was like shooketh in that moment because we have asked so many people what is the deal with this blue drink.
Yeah,
we've asked so many Thai people.
Asked William. We've asked
a couple actors. Yeah. We've asked people, and every time they're like, I don't know, that's just for TV.
Les.
Yeah, every time they're like, that's just for TV. And so when I was on the TikTok, how many times did they say the TikTok? And I see it, and I'm like, oh my God, that's blue. And I'm like, oh my God, they're in Thailand. And I'm like, oh my God, they're making it. And I truly was shooketh.
Because if any characters in any show go to a bar,
there's a blue drink.
There is always a blue drink. It has shown up in
Manner of Death.
Together with Me.
Together with Me.
I'm pretty sure it showed up in this season of Cutie Pie.
It shows up in ingredients.
They drink a lot of wine in Cutie Pie. Just really ridiculous.
Sometimes they're drinking blue wine, I've noticed. Or they're just drinking blue drink out of a wine glass in some shows.
Nice.
But yeah.
This shows up a lot.
Yeah.
So potentially.
Tell us
what's in the blue drink.
Here's the recipe. if you are under the age of 21 in the United States of America, here's my disclaimer. Don't make this.
Yeah.
This is my disclaimer to you. Let's navigate to the recipe.
The TikTok.
Yeah.
In question.
The TikTok in question. We're going to navigate to it right now.
There was an alcohol that we no longer have in the States.
Right. So we looked it up because we've got connections.
Oh my God.
And we were like, okay, we need this. Like, help us find this. And it turns out they don't sell one of these things in the United States anymore. They used to.
Yeah.
And it was discontinued in the United States. But we were told what it tastes like. And we were told like the carbonation level. So we supplemented.
Yeah.
So, okay, the TikTok. Let's turn the volume down. Okay. Vodka, which is regular old vodka.
Yeah.
And then something called Smirnoff Electric Blue, which is the thing we don't have in America anymore.
Which is like a vodka.
It's a berry-flavored malt beverage that is uncarbonated. The important part here is it's berry-flavored and it's uncarbonated. And it's blue. This is where the blue comes from. Electric blue.
Yeah.
And then you also have something called vitamin C water, which is something we don't technically have in America.
Right.
But you looked it up. You found the brand that these teens were using.
Yeah. And it's like a lemon vitamin water.
Right. So that's what we purchased was lemonade flavor vitamin water.
Yeah.
And then you put it in a cup with some ice and you top it with club soda. Now, here's where we supplemented when we made this blue drink. We were like, okay, if the point here of the Smirnoff Electric Blue is to make it blue and to make it berry flavored, what can we do? And the answer is, if you've been to college in the United States of America, you know the answer is blue raspberry vodka. The answer is blue raspberry vodka. And so that's exactly what we bought.
It was pretty.
And basically what happened is it was a big old glass of vodka and some vitamin water and club soda, which means it was highly hydrating.
It was. I was totally fine the next day.
I was totally fine. I had zero hangover and I drank like basically a full bottle of vodka.
Bless the Thai teens. They know what they're doing.
They know how to hydrate.
That's amazing.
We stand.
I love it so much.
The question though is, and because you and I talked about this when we were making it, we're like, was this just their recipe? Was this just like, because we don't actually know if technically these teens that made this drink were old enough to drink in Thailand when they made this. And so being in America, I do not endorse this, children. Please don't do this.
Yeah.
We've all been there where you like make drinks out of the things you have.
Oh, right.
So was this a scenario where they were like, this is the stuff we have?
Probably.
Also, I think it was during COVID. So it's like, how do you like go out and get stuff?
Do all the Thais just have like a blue liquor hanging around?
I don't know. Unanswerable. We don't have an answer.
More questions. Okay, next.
Okay, you want me to go first?
Yeah.
Okay.
Second.
Well, I mean, like you want me to go for my first question?
Yeah.
Okay, my first question. This is truly my number one question that I have in life. Okay. Just like in life, not just in BL world, but in life. What is a sexy boy / cute boy?
Truly, because we've asked directly somebody who was a sexy boy and
somebody who is married to a sexy boy still didn't know. So if you are unclear,
missed our opportunity with Jump.
What is what do we know of the sexy / cute boys?
Okay, so Thammasat University are the sexy boys,
right? TU sexy boys,
and then
Chula. So Chula
SW.
Yeah, so you have SWU cute boys. You also have Chulacorn cute boys.
Okay. From what we can gather, they're like ambassadors, which is what we have.
But are they? Because when we asked an actor, he was like, kind of.
I've watched a lot of footage from.
No, I watched all the Jump footage
from like I think was a cute boy.
Ohm was
Bilkin.
Yeah, Ohm was an SW cute boy. Bilkin was a TU sexy boy.
Jump. Oh my god.
Jump is a TU. Also, how long are you a sexy boy? Is it just your freshman year? Are you like a lifetime sexy boy?
I mean, in Jump's case, yes.
For sure.
The reals make themselves, people. I feel like I've watched a ton of footage.
And also, wait, wasn't there are like 8? Okay, Sia was a cute boy. Sia is an SW cute boy.
Right.
Was a cute boy. Nanon was a cute boy.
Yeah, they did like a reunion of all like a bunch of years of the cute boy, and
Jimmy
they were
was
like,
a truly cute boy.
There's like 100
Jimmy
BL
of
boys.
Jimmy Tommy was a cute boy.
Do you think that this is an SM situation where they just go hang out at the cute boy, sexy boy event, and they're like, that boy?
Yes, but my question really is, what is this? What are your duties? Is it like being Miss America?
What? I say you just don't question it and just accept.
But I want to know. And how is it different from the sun and the moon or the star and the moon? Because we know Ben Brazier was a moon. In fact, while he was filming Two Moons too.
Oh,
so like
that's so funny because one of our online questions was, is it really a thing that colleges have moon and star of the faculty?
So actually, I have an answer for that. That actually is a thing because Ben Brazier was a moon. So was Yin.
Yes.
Yin was a moon. So like, I know that the star and the moon thing is real, but, here's the thing. I know the sexy boys and the cute boys are real. This is a real thing. I've seen the footage, but like my questions are like, what is it? What do you do? And also how are you chosen? Does somebody just, do you walk? And I've asked people this directly, like Thai people. And I've been like, how does it work?
Do you have answers to a lot of questions?
I'm like, do you just walk onto campus your like freshman year, first day of freshman year, and somebody just points at you and they're like, sexy boy? Like,
I mean, given what we know about Thai campus culture, probably.
But also, are you only a sexy boy / cute boy your freshman year and then you like graduate out and then there's like a new round of sexy boys? Do you have to mentor the younger sexy boys? Also, can I say, I really appreciate that TU was like, everybody else can be cute boys, but we're sexy boys. Like we have the sexy, because everybody else is a cute boy. But Tamisat is basically, I need somebody. Who do we know that's in college? Because that's the problem with like, we keep asking people that have graduated. And so like, maybe they just don't remember, or like, it's been a hot minute and they're like, I don't know how to explain this. We need somebody who's actively in college. Jump. We need Jump.
We should,
because Jump was a TU sexy boy / is.
Maybe we'll have him back on the podcast
just to talk about this.
100%.
We need somebody that's gonna have answers. It's not because every time we ask, somebody's like, I don't really know how to explain it. And like, it's also evidently, we learned, it has to do with like, at least for TU and Chula, it has to do with a rivalry in a soccer game. I guess like TU and Chula are rivals.
Right. Somebody told us that.
Yeah.
Porsche. Yeah.
I didn't know if we were going to spoil our own interview. It's fine. Whatever. Porsche told us this.
I
don't think it's in the interview, though. Did we ask about it?
I'm pretty sure we did.
During the interview.
I'm pretty sure we did.
We did grill him, like, not grill him, but like, honestly, we have so many questions just all the time.
It's true.
I need somebody who's currently enrolled. Okay. PSA time. If you are currently enrolled in Thammasat University, Chulacorn University, or SWU, please tell me how this works. I need to know. Like, Jump, please. Who else is? No, Boom's not. No. And Portia goes to a different. Chris Strickland.
Oh my gosh.
That's who needs to tell us.
Well, we didn't ask.
We didn't ask. Chris Strickland.
If you're listening to the podcast.
Please, God, tell me what a sexy boy is.
Well,
I'm heated about this question. It drives me bananas.
We'll figure it out. Okay. Are you ready for my hot topic?
I'm so ready.
Okay. Here's the question.
Okay. Oh, God. I'm so scared.
Is TharnType popular because of the mute gulf of it all?
Yes.
Because I think everyone can admit that TharnType is so toxic and so problematic, and yet literally everyone watches it, everyone rewatches it, everyone
I've never
talks
rewatched
about it.
To be fair, I have never rewatched it.
A lot of people rewatch it though.
I mean, it's for mute gulf, yeah, and like mild, right? Like I will say I'm kind of in it for mild. Like, he's an awesome friend.
He is. Yeah.
He honestly gets like verbally abused throughout the entire thing, and he's just like, "I got you, boo."
Right. I mean, I think that was a pretty simple yes.
It's a yes. I feel like that one has an answer.
I think everyone can agree that like there's nothing good about TharnType, but like Mugolf is beloved.
Yeah.
Because like everyone was so shocked when Don't Say No was
good.
Highly
was not problematic. Right. When Don't Say No, like I kept waiting for it. I kept being like, the other shoe's gonna drop and it's gonna be painful.
It didn't.
And it didn't. Like there was only like 2 minor problematic bits.
Right.
But not to the same extent.
No.
Yeah. Okay.
Next. Oh Lord.
Does Jeff ever feel guilty for fake murdering gameplay? Like, do you think he ever just like every now and then remembers that he had to fake murder gameplay and like watch him die?
That was pretty aggressive.
Do you think he ever just like it? Do you think it ever just pops into his mind? Because sometimes I'll just remember he murdered gameplay. Like randomly.
And then we wouldn't have gotten Ghost gameplay. So he kind of did us a little bit of a favor because like Ghost gameplay is pretty superb. If you don't know what we're talking about, He, She, It is a must watch. It's excellent.
It's only 3 episodes. It's also it's like a super easy watch.
Right.
It's also a legitimately spooky Ghost BL, which never really happens.
I was terrified.
Well, also when we watched it, there happened to be a thunderstorm that night.
I was so scared.
Oh, you're lucky I was there.
Probably Jeff is too busy being a mafia boy in Kim Porsche now.
I mean, but you don't think it just like in the night randomly he's like, oh yeah.
I know that murder scene.
I mean, because it was intense.
Yeah,
it was like one of the more intense murders.
Die.
He watches him die.
Like he was a bystander. What do you think is harder? Like, do you think it's? Do you think? Oh my God, why am I asking this question? Do you think it's harder to like physically murder somebody, or do you think it's harder to like watch somebody die
and not intervene?
Yeah. Are you less guilty if you don't intervene?
No, honestly, I feel like it's probably
what's that term that's like you
I think it's worse if you don't intervene, like for you on your conscience, because if you physically murder someone, this is not funny, but if you physically murder someone, you've like decided, like you set out to be like, I'm gonna kill you.
How do we go from a BL podcast to a true crime podcast?
Right, you've set out, you're like, I'm gonna kill you, right? Like you've made that decision. You're like, I am going to murder someone. Like I'm gonna take someone's life. Versus if you don't intervene,
this
like
would
usually
be unmeditated.
Right, not premeditated, not meditated. Is unmeditated a word? True crime buffs. We have so many questions in the comments. Tell us what we need. Somebody studying law. Chris Strickland.
This is not a You're My Sky. Actually, we've become a Chris Strickland podcast, weirdly enough.
No, we have not.
Yeah, I feel like I just needed to say
it. We got to bring it back around. No, I feel like if you have decided you're gonna murder someone, right? Like you're like. Like I'm like I like it like you have made that decision with your whole body, then like it's not gonna weigh on your conscience as much because like you thought about it, like you were like at peace with your decision to murder someone versus
like thought about murdering someone. Versus I'm locking my door tonight.
If you like in the case of Mike and Pim, which are the characters that Jeff and Gameplay play, and He, She, It.
Oh my God, how did you remember that?
I love that show.
You do.
Mike just like literally he falls in the pool and Mike watches him die and doesn't intervene, right? So like he didn't set out to murder him, but he let him die. So I feel like that would weigh more on your conscience.
Potentially.
But I like Jeff and Gameplay are like they're buds, they're friends, they're so cute together. Yeah.
Jeff Satter.
Yeah.
Come on the podcast.
Jeff Satter, come on the podcast and tell us, do you ever randomly feel guilty for fake murdering Gameplay?
Oh, so good. Okay, here's another question.
Okay.
Why, after so many of these couples get together, are they surprised by physical touch? This season of Gen Y, Kimmin and Copter, so Kit, was so surprised by Mark kissing him every time. It happened.
Was it in public? Spoiler, no, I did not watch Gen Y.
No, it was in private. In fact, it happened in Don't Say No. And Don't Say No was hella spicy.
So I feel like
in the kitchen when like, you know, in the kitchen when he is like he like he burns himself and he's like Leo. Why does that sound weird? Leo is looking at Fiat's mouth and Fiat kisses Leo, right?
Well, because that
He's,
one was like
surprised.
a surprise kiss, right? Because it wasn't like they weren't like about to kiss. So
But
that one I
get. Have you ever
get.
been surprised by your husband kissing you?
Yeah, if you're like not expecting it. It's like it's like if somebody like walks up behind you and like does this, right? If you're like not expecting it, yes, you're like, oh. Yeah.
Interesting.
Versus like what I glean from what happened with Kim Cop and Gen Y is that it just like any kiss, even when it was like clearly a romantic situation, like it was like a full like freeze and stare kind of moment. Right. And I have no explanation for you on that one. My explanation for you is that from what I understand after listening to a lot of people talk about Gen Y season 2 is that it was a hot mess.
Yes.
And I think that's your answer.
But it happens in a lot of shows. Early days. Like I'm pretty sure it happens a lot in SOTUS.
Yeah, but like for most of SOTUS, they're not dating.
True. So yeah, it's always fascinating to me. These couples are like in a relationship and they're always like startled when there's physical affection.
Yeah, I wonder if that's a cultural thing. If that like, I mean,
right.
Americans are a little more
touchy-feely.
Yeah, right. Like move forward with the physical nature of their relationship faster versus like potentially in Thai culture, you can be dating and not have a physical aspect to the relationship for a while.
We should ask William.
He wouldn't tell us. Every time we ask William these things, he's like, I don't know.
Oh, it's so good.
Oh, William.
Okay.
He wants us to have questions. I think
does.
That's why. Okay. My next question is.
Oh, no.
Does a fall kiss hurt when they have to actually play it? Because they like physically fall to the floor like on their back, like and smash teeth basically.
We got a realistic injury in I saw clips of it in Love Stage. You know, because they've been releasing clips even though we have not gotten it internationally.
Yeah.
But both Kawana and Turbo got like bloody lips and one of them lost a tooth.
Oh my god. But like, does it hurt for the actors, right? Like when they have to do it. So like, for example,
you gotta go lips first, I guess.
In Dear Doctor, I'm Coming for Soul, they had a fall kiss in the first episode, which
was excellent.
I love a fall kiss.
I'm obsessed with fall kisses.
I love a fall kiss. So I was like, and it was a great fall kiss. Also, second episode of Tuxedo, we get a fall kiss into a bathtub. That one probably didn't hurt because like you've got water,
right?
But I'm sure it was uncomfortable because they had to like fall into the tub.
Yeah, that was like
intense. I'm very curious with the physicality of like acting out a fall kiss because listen, we all know fall kisses are not realistic. This is not a thing that happens.
Falling onto another person,
and then the person that falls frequently is like smashing into the ground, or like in You're My Sky, it wasn't a fall kiss, but we had like a fall almost kiss with Tay and Sia on the basketball court. And so like they like fell onto like hardwood basketball court.
And they were like, are you okay?
Right.
There was like genuine concern. But like Tay and Nu, and I mean, I feel like Nu falling into anyone with those lips would not hurt at all. Cause like
lips. So but kiss. Yeah, no, not Dark Blue Kiss. Kiss me again. Yeah, they fall kiss onto the pavement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I watched the behind the scenes of that and it's really funny because the fall kiss, like obviously they're not making these actors fall. So they're like already laying down.
But they still like Nu like because Tay falls on top of Nu in that like Nu kind of like slams down onto the pavement. And so I'm just curious about like the physicality of a fall kiss because we've heard in talking about TharnType, Mew was talking about how one of their like spicy scenes, they actually had to hold it for a really long time. So he was essentially planking for an hour straight. And he was like, it was so uncomfortable. He was like, it hurt so much.
He got back spasms after that.
And so I'm so curious about like the physicality of a fall kiss.
Right.
And of course it's unanswerable because I will never be a BL boy that acts out a fall kiss.
Well, hopefully we'll have someone on the podcast that we can answer.
I feel like I will never ask somebody about the physicality of a fall kiss.
I will.
Okay.
Fully. I'll be like, explain to me that awesome stunt you did where you fell.
I mean, it's pretty impressive.
I mean, the fall kiss in Dear Doctor is pretty great because
really
he's
good.
Butt naked.
Also, it's like the kiss itself is good, but it's also funny. I love a fall kiss.
It's pretty good. Okay, here's my next question. Do couples discuss ship work Or is it something that just comes naturally?
I also have this question. I am dying to ask somebody this. Well, it's not on my list, but like because I didn't go hot takes like you.
Yeah.
I'm dying. We were just talking about this.
We were.
Yeah, in relation to a specific show, because we were talking about how,
because you see the evolution of a ship, right?
And you also see different ships, like if you even think about in the same company, right? Like if we're talking GMMTV or Star Hunter or Wabi Sabi, the way that different ships play up their ship work can be very different, right? We see it in You're My Sky. That's actually, I think, where our discussion spawned from. And like the question is, like, do the two boys sit down and they're like, okay, this is how we're gonna play our ship? Or is it just like we're just gonna act? It's just gonna I just would be so curious.
Me too.
It's
because
fascinating.
even so specifically thinking about GMMTV couples, which bless whoever at GMMTV took Maxine's advice and was like, they're friends. Maybe they want to kiss. Because you have like Cow Tongue first. And them being together is really cute because like they're truly just like best friends, like fun friends, but they're not like non fun friends. Like Nanon is so like physically affectionate that they have more physicality and intimacy.
Nanon with the cheek smooshing,
physical touch with them. Whereas like Cow Tongue and First do that thing where they're like, yeah, we go to dinner together all the time. Or like if I have something I want to do, I ask Cow Tongue to go with me.
Or even like the way BKPP play their ship, right?
And so yeah, it's so interesting.
Which I feel like this is going to be a hot take because we're saying the words like they play a ship, but like that's what they're doing.
That's what they're doing. I mean, like Tool and Max too. It's like at some point did they just do it, or they're like, hey, like our characters are this way, so like we should just like, I'm comfortable if you're comfortable, like.
Well, or I mean, is it more of like, do you have a conversation, which I feel like you might have to,
I guess,
but do you have a conversation where you're like, okay, how comfortable are you? Like, where's your line? Right? Because like no matter how close you are, like you have boundaries. So like I feel like you have to have a conversation at some point of like, okay, where's your line? What's your boundary? Like, here's what I'm comfortable with. Like, what are you comfortable with? Like, how much can we play this up?
Yeah. I wish we had asked Junior about the ship work stuff, because he talked about having people come talk to the boys about
this is our ship work.
Yes. Come talk to the boys about the industry and like what that's like.
Right.
Do they have like ship
coaches?
Ship coaches. That's so fun. Yeah. Because like, so for like an off gun, that has developed dramatically over time. Like they used to be really over the top almost sometimes. And they've kind of settled into like these old married couples. And the ship work was interesting on like Safe House this season because like it was a bunch of couples. And so you had Neo and Louie who barely even looked at each other. And then you have Earth Mix who are like hugging in the kitchen.
But also you have like, Earth who's like kissing Neo on the face. Yeah,
and then like Jung and Dunk like spooning every morning. So it's like, and then Jimmy and Sue who like didn't really talk to each other. Yeah. So yeah, there's such a variety of ships, and I wonder if there is a ship that other ships look at and are like, we should do it that way.
Yeah, I would be so curious to ask
a level of ship.
I would be so curious to ask like a new ship, like a brand new ship, right? Like never like super young actor. God, missed opportunities with You're My Sky. To be like, did you look, because like it's your job, so lots of these actors do research, right? Like we know they do, and they've talked about like they all talk about how they do research and they watch these shows and like okay, Soham from Semantic Error. Just recently we learned that like he used young royals as like a guide on like for the kiss scene, for example. So like we know that these actors do research, right? Because this is their job, they're professionals, right? And so like I would be so curious to know if there's like, if a new ship ever like sat down and had the conversation, or looked at a couple and were like, okay, let's play it like them, or I like how they do this, or this seems fun.
I don't know if they would ever tell us, because I feel like ship work is that kind of thing that like
it's supposed to be real, right? Yeah.
Like
But I think here's the thing. I think that people get so heated about the idea of ship work in that like it's not real and they're gaslighting me. And it's like, no. Again, we're all playing a game together, first of all. Second of all, it's not it's not supposed to be real. It's supposed to be this fantasy land that we all live in together.
Right.
At appropriate levels, and when the game is over, right? Like you don't play Monopoly 24 hours a day.
Yeah. And you know what? I was thinking about this the other day. Even if these boys stood 2 feet apart and never like really interacted with each other, you would still have fans being like, oh my God, they're banging.
Right.
Because we see it in K-pop, right? Mm-hmm. The amount of times, like, I'm fascinated. I don't participate in the shipping in K-pop and I don't like it, but I'm fascinated by the people who put together these videos that are like, these boys are obviously dating. And it's like, they looked at each other across the stage and like probably didn't because they were like, wait, whatever.
I feel like it's really interesting. I think that this is a hot take.
I can't wait to like
this is a hot take.
One day be friends with a BL boy and be like, hey bro, tell us about your ship work.
I already know who I'm gonna ask immediately.
Amazing.
I feel like the thing about it is that it's not entirely fake either, right? So like a lot of these, especially if you look at the ships, like it's built off of a real relationship. Omen and Nun, Kowtung and First, Max and Tool, Boom and Jump. Boom and Jump knew each other for years before they got paired up, right?
Work. Yeah.
So like, and they do excellent ship work. But my point is like it's not all fake. Like it is based on something, but on some level they're doing ship work, right? Because that's the game we're playing together is like shipping.
It's
and
just
if you
like
do it
watching
healthily,
a show.
If you do it in a healthy way, it's fun, right? And we can have fun together. And so and I think we all know and can all agree that like there are some couples with their ship work that miss the mark, that either go way, way, way too far or like don't play the game at all.
Yeah. Go watch our ships episode. It's a great episode. Okay. What's next?
Hot take. Okay.
What else you got?
My next question is, why does everyone enter and exit through windows in We Best Love? This drives me bananas. Watch the show. They're always jumping in and out of windows to get into classrooms. Why? And one of my friends, her husband is Taiwanese, grew up in Taiwan,
right?
Like went to high school in Taiwan, went to college in Taiwan. It wasn't until like he came and went and got like another degree over here, right? Okay. And that's where they met.
Yeah.
So I asked her, I was like, I need you to ask your husband. Like, is this like a thing? Yeah. Is this normal? Like, I was like, because it's fascinating to me. It's so weird. Like, I've never seen it in any other Taiwanese drama that I've watched.
Right.
And so I was like, but most Taiwanese dramas they don't have as many on-campus scenes as We Best Love does. We Best Love spends a lot of time on campus in a way that other Taiwanese dramas don't.
And I think in Make Our Days Count, the windows were high. Or does he go through a window in We Best Love too?
In We Best Love, they go through
in Make Our Days Count.
Well, in Make Our Days Count, they're not on campus a ton. It's a lot of off campus, like in the apartment, at the job, at the gym, at the bakery, at the apartment, like both of their apartments.
Because Alfred makes a nice little appearance.
Yes, they're on campus some, but when they're on campus, they're like on the basketball court. They're cleaning up the trash. They're right. So like it's different.
Right.
But so I asked, and she asked her husband for me, like, she's very nice. And what he said was, I don't know, sounds like something the teens do to be cool. And I was like, that feels like a fake answer to me. No one's been able to answer this question for me. Was it like stylistic for the show? Is it because that's what the teens do in Taiwan? Like, I genuinely want to know why there are doors. Why are we going through the windows?
Because it's fun.
That's not an answer.
Growing up, I actually liked climbing out my bedroom windows because I only had like a 1-story house, and that was like a thing we did.
I mean, we all snuck out of the house through the windows, Bethany.
Because it's like a fun thing to do. But I wasn't sneaking out of the house. I was like playing with friends, and like we just wanted to like leave through the window because it was like,
I never snuck out of the house either.
Because it was like it was a thing you weren't supposed to do.
Yeah, I never snuck out of the house either. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
If you're from Taiwan and you know what the teens are doing,
you understand.
Tell us. Okay. Here's another one.
Okay.
Why do so many people wear sweaters in Thailand?
I mean, for the fashion.
True.
Yeah.
But I can't help but be uncomfortable when I see Nanon standing in that full sweater at the end of Bad Buddy when he's about to go to Singapore.
And you see there's like a bead of sweat. Anytime I see
God.
them in sweaters on the shows and I see the beads of sweat, I'm like, you poor sweet angel baby.
Why aren't we wearing tank tops? I don't understand. We'd appreciate a tank top or two.
It's like for the fashion.
I mean, I understand that potentially they're going from like AC to AC. And I know here, like, especially when I was in school, you would have like a sweater at school.
For school,
because it was
like I have a work
cold.
sweater.
Yeah. And so I guess like maybe that's it, that like people jack up the AC so much. And like what is it? Siam Paragon. That's what it is. I was thinking the
Icon Siam.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
We've like now memorized all the shopping centers in Thailand
because we ran the tuk-tuks. Yes.
So yeah, I just want to know, like, is that a thing that the general population does?
Or
is it a status symbol where it's like if you can wear a sweater, it means you're
going
fancy.
From AC to AC. Maybe.
Genius. I've just come up with a genius thought.
That's amazing. I have no answer for this.
I.e. Porsche with his fancy sweaters.
Right, Porsche with the Balenciaga sweaters, the iconic Balenciaga sweater. Yeah. Porsche is so iconic.
His red Fendi sweater.
Yeah,
I can almost name like so many of that boy's sweaters because they're just like
he's so iconic in them.
Fancy. Did he wear?
And then the Givenchy in that last episode of You're My Sky.
I guess he didn't wear any sweaters during the holidays, right? Because he was like
during worldwide holidays
because he wasn't going to AC.
He was on holiday, Beth Ann.
Oh my god, I love it so much.
I love Porsche so much.
Nice.
Okay.
Continue.
Okay. On. My last question is this one's so stupid, but it's something I think about a lot, actually.
Yeah.
Did Ja's character in Close Friend personify the cat so much that he actually saw a human, or did the cat only ever see humans and think that that's what he looked like?
Fascinating. Amazing. Oh. That whole episode is pretty amazing because like sometimes first acts like a cat and then sometimes he acts like a human.
And so like I have pets and I like my dog has a voice.
Right. And sometimes Ja interacted with first, like the spooning first. Like, I mean, I guess I've spooned Parker once or twice.
That's the dog. That's my dog, in case anyone's wondering.
I occasionally spoon Dally when she hates me. But yeah.
But why are we seeing a human? Is it because Ja's character personified the cat so much, right? And like created such a close bond with the cat that he, in his mind,
what do you think
saw
Parker looks like as a human?
I've never personified, because I'm one of those people where like I actually hate when people call themselves their dogs like mom or dad. Like you do it to me all the time. You call me Parker's mother and I hate it. And you call Zach his dad and I hate it.
I do.
But so I just like I'm not one of those like person, like yes, Parker has a voice,
right?
Because he's a fancy boy.
Would he be a sexy boy?
No, because he's a baby.
He'd be a cute boy.
Yeah. But did Ja's character, like, did he, because like honestly most of the time we see Ja, he's like alone in the house, like, and he seemingly like lives in the middle of nowhere. Like, is he a little cuckoo bananas? I don't know. And he like
he's a nice boy because his friend was like, here's the cat, like,
right,
would you like,
but so did he eventually see a human? And that's why, because he does things for this cat that you would never do for your actual pet,
right?
Like kick someone out of his house because he felt bad the cat was in the bathroom.
You know.
So did he see, right? He had personified the cat so much that he saw a human?
Yeah.
Or are we watching it from first point of view and he just like, as cat, had only ever seen other humans, never seen a mirror, right? Never seen himself in a mirror.
Right.
And did he think he looks like a human?
That's a great question. I don't know.
I truly don't think even John first would be able to answer to this.
No.
Like, I don't think they'd have an answer for this.
It's such an interesting thing to think about.
Yeah.
I love it so much.
These are my deep BL thoughts. Yeah.
Okay, here's my last question. What is a BL?
Unanswerable, truly. And everybody's going to be in our comments because they have an answer for this question. Yeah.
But that's why it's unanswerable, because
there's literally never one answer.
Literally everyone has,
literally everyone has a different answer.
I was thinking about this the other day because I have seen a lot of BLs and also literally any English language gay media that's come out in the last 20 years.
Right.
Basically 20 years, because I went through an era where I went back and watched like all the Queer as Folk and all the like Will and Grace and all like everything.
Yeah, like the old stuff you were too young for.
Yes.
Or that like, you were too young to stay up that late when it came on TV. Because it used to come on TV like late at night here.
Yeah. Well, and we never had HBO growing up, which is what I think Queer as Folk was on. So my thought is that, like Call Me by Your Name, like Brokeback Mountain, all those things. So my thought is that BL typically has some kind of like fantastical, kind of over dramatized element to it, where I would say like more queer media is a real story. Like you watch it and you're like, there's usually something like relatable to the character. Like you could see this happening in real life. Whereas I feel like BL's like a fall kiss, or like you hating your roommate and then like wanting
and then you get sick and he takes care of you, and then like obviously so that you don't owe him, you have to sleep together,
right?
Obviously.
Or like like in so many of these dramas, like with Cutie Pie, where there's like an arranged marriage and like you've known each other your whole life, so obviously like you're supposed to get married later in life.
So here's my question for you then.
Deals.
Do you not consider It's a BL? And do you not consider like You're My Sky a BL? Because both of those are very relatable, very realistic. And so by the definition you just gave, neither of those are BLs.
I'm trying to think with It's a is a coming of age story.
Yeah, it is. But like I think this is where we get in trouble when we like start to define BL as only something that's unrealistic and fantastical.
Right.
Here's what I think. I think that all queer media specifically depicting boys on boys love.
Yeah.
Shout out Yanan.
Yeah.
It is a BL, but not all BLs are queer media.
Yes.
That's how I would define it.
Oh, I can see that.
Like personally.
Yeah. Because at the most basic, it's boys and boys love.
Right. So I think that all gay stories, right? Specifically boys and boys love.
Yeah.
Are BLs.
Right.
But not all BLs would qualify as queer media for me.
True.
Yeah.
Interesting. Even though they have queer characters?
Right.
Interesting.
Because queer media is kind of like what you said, where it's like it's telling real stories with real impact that like this could happen in real life, versus like we were talking about earlier, like nobody fall kisses.
Yeah.
Nobody feels bad that they're gonna owe their roommate because they got sick and then is like, hey, why don't we just sleep together?
Yeah.
Right? Like that's not a thing that happens. Right. And all of those like fantastical elements, right? Like the arranged marriage in Cutie Pie, the storyline in Love Stage.
Yeah.
Right? So like all of these storylines are a little bit more fantastical. They're a little bit more, like fantasy, which there's nothing wrong with that. Right. But I don't think that represents a real experience. And I think that specifically queer media represents the queer experience.
Right.
And so I think if it's not representing a real queer experience, then it's not queer media. But I think that any storyline depicting a gay relationship is BL.
Interesting. Because it's boys and
boys love.
I love
Shout
it.
out Yanan. But again, I think every single person in the comments is going to have a different definition of BL. And I actually think that's okay.
I would love to hear
what people think
of BL is.
Yeah.
So let's go through a few of these that were suggested. We can do them real quick.
Do it.
The question that we constantly ask, and I actually asked just a general Asian person that I know, and they didn't have an answer to this.
What does that mean? Can you please define what
I asked? I asked a Chinese person about like generally in Asia.
Okay. I asked a generally
a generic Asian person. They're Chinese, my bad. Okay, why do they have pictures of themselves on their nightstands?
Okay.
We've asked this so many times.
We need to ask
But
Boom.
You know what? You have a photo in your room of yourself. In front of the bean.
But it's a little bit different. I also have a photo of myself in my room of me snow tubing. Mostly because like I look really good in that picture. But
so like you do have photos in your room.
Feel like
just not beside your bedside.
Right. And also here's the difference. It's not just solo pictures of me. It's like I insert a picture of my bedroom here, maybe. We'll see if I actually do that.
Don't do that.
But it's like on a shelf where there's a ton of pictures, and there's like pictures of me and my grandfather, and pictures of me and Zach, and there's a picture of me and you.
Right.
So it's not that it's like I just have a picture of me. It's like
right.
in a grouping of lots of pictures of just like memories from my life.
Right.
So, but like I don't think I would ever just have a picture of like me.
Yeah. I think it's because they just like that photo of themselves. And like we like looking at them. So I guess they're like, let's decorate the room with all these boys. Just photos of the boys. So that if the boy isn't in the shot, like you at least need to know that like this is his room.
Right, in the show. But we know this happens in real life, right? Because didn't you say yeah.
I have a Filipino friend who I realized has a photo of herself just like in her apartment.
Just but like I wonder if, although you lived alone for a long time, did you ever have a picture just of yourself? Because I was like, I wonder if, because the reason we put up pictures, right, like in psychologically, is like you want to remember that moment, right? It's like memories. And
no, because I barely take photos of myself.
So that's what I was gonna ask. Is maybe it's like, they're like, if you live alone and you whatever, like don't have a picture with someone else, like you want to remember that moment.
What you look like? You don't want to look.
No, like you want to remember that time you were like doing that fun thing, right? Like wherever you were when you took that picture.
I would usually no, because I'm not a big like, let me take a photo of myself in this experience. I usually am like, let me take a photo of this experience.
But you like. When we went to Chicago, like you have a picture in front of the bean.
I do, because I really liked my outfit that day.
That's what I'm.
That was it.
But like,
but I don't know if I'd print that out and like have it.
Well, yeah, the reason
that's why we have social media.
The reason I have that picture of me in front of the bean is because like, I look really good in that picture.
Yeah.
Like the angle is good. Like my sister literally like got on the ground to take that picture of me. It was like a whole thing.
I think I would like use it as like my profile picture,
but you wouldn't necessarily see. And the reason I have like the picture from Colorado when I was snow tubing, or like that picture from the bean, is because I have like a big display of photos. It's like lots of photos that actually used to be way more photos.
Right.
And it's like, it's part of like a whole photo display. But I am very curious. Yeah, because like if you like Boom.
Yeah.
Boom is actually my favorite boy that has a photo of himself because it's very prominent and it's the only thing on that wall and it's huge.
Right.
And it's a great picture of him. But like, does he just look at it and he's like, yes, I need to be this sexy every day? And that's like his motivation. His motivation is himself. I would love to get to the point where like my motivation is myself.
Yeah.
Anyways, fascinating question.
I love all these questions. There's one that's the ever-present fevers with the need for a towel to wipe down.
Oh, right. Everyone always has a fever.
Everyone always gets so sick in these dramas. And it happens in straight dramas too. And when I started watching Asian dramas, like so many people would get just like a sudden fever overnight.
And when they get fevers, they're like down for the count. Like in Why Destiny, like with Chap and Tay.
Right.
When Tay gets that fever, just the fact that I'm referencing this episode, I think we can all agree is like, oh Lord, have mercy.
Yeah.
But when he gets that fever, he literally like can't open his eyes. Like it's like intense. And the only time I've ever had a fever that bad was when I had like the flu and I like legit almost died and my fever was like 104 and it was like a whole thing.
Right. Okay, let's end on this one. I just wanted to understand how come it's so attractive to us females. Psychology 101.
Good question.
I read an article one time about like why females like should I say this? Why females like gay porn. And it was something along the lines
And now we can't monetize this video.
My bad. We can bleep out porn.
Well, if you keep saying it.
My bad. Should we should we rewind and you can cut here so that you can edit it?
It's fine. It's whatever.
That it's
Catch me if you can, YouTube.
Yeah. It's something along the lines of the fact that women can't judge themselves against somebody else that they're watching on screen. And so you can truly just like immerse yourself in the story. And therefore you're not thinking like, oh, am I pretty like her? Oh, am I skinny like her? Like you're just watching a romance happen between two people or like an interaction happen between two people. And like you can fully displace yourself from it.
Yeah, I think interestingly, Evan had a really interesting take on this when we talked to him. Where when he was talking about, because we asked him at the time, we asked him about shipping. Actually, we're so radical. First season, we're talking to people about shipping.
We were like, an actor wants to talk to us. Let's ask all the questions.
Well, honestly, it was low-key Evan's fault because like, and we love Evan. Yeah, he's so fun.
Go listen to his new single.
Go listen to the new single. He like wrote us these little notes. Evan is the nicest boy in the world. But he made the mistake of saying to us, I've never had the chance to have an in-depth conversation with fans about this stuff before. And both of us were like,
yes.
And so we did ask him, we were like, is the shipping, like, does this, and he kind of brought it up himself too.
Right.
We're like, does this happen in real life?
Right.
Because in our lives, like, I've never been like, oh, like my two guy friends, like their friends, maybe they want to kiss. Yeah. Like, no, I've never been there, done that. I've never even been like a guy friend and a girlfriend or a girlfriend and a girlfriend. I've even been like two friends, maybe they want to kiss.
Yeah. I think maybe sometimes it's like, oh, I wonder if they are kissing.
Or, oh, I went like I've been set up before. Yeah. Right. And so like, obviously like that's kind of shipping, right? When you set someone up.
Yes.
Right. Because like you think they'd be good together.
Right.
Spoiler, that relationship didn't end well. Didn't work. Ship sank.
Nice.
The ship sank.
So yeah, he said
he said that, and he wasn't like referencing it specifically like this, but what he said was, or like in relation to why do girls like it so much,
right? But
what he said was, he was like, the thing about BLs is that it's mostly for girls, and that it's because BLs, at least like old school BLs, right? Like we don't really see this as much anymore. Like BLs are really starting to evolve, but like old school BLs, and on some level still current BLs,
right,
really like play up and romanticize this idea of like a perfect love story,
right,
where it's sweet and it's perfect and there's no consequences, and it's this like, it's this perfect pie in the sky ideal of a it's pure love. He called it pure love,
right,
pure love,
right,
and that like that's the reason. And I mean, if you want to get into this, like women have much higher levels of being like verbally abused, emotionally abused, physically abused, even in the cases where like men don't realize that they are being emotionally abusive, right? And so like the idea, and also just quite frankly, like due to the nature of being a woman in the world, Let's Talk PL doesn't normally get into this stuff, but like due to the nature of being a woman in the world, like you have to, like, you always have to watch your back. You are never comfortable with a man, never, right? Like we all joke and we say like trust no man, but like truly trust no man, right? Like you are taught as a woman from like a very young age that you have to be careful around men, that it's your job to be careful around men, right? And so like men in our society, just kind of like around the world, this is pretty universal, have a dominance over women in that like women always have to watch their backs, right? Like we really can't trust a man, and like you really, like you're taught, and it's like kind of ingrained in you that like you can't trust a man's motives, and you can't, right? And so like the idea of like not having to worry about that, oh my god,
pretty nice.
Yeah, like not having to worry about like is he going to read into this, right? Is me being nice and friendly and jokey, like me having a friendship with this person, am I accidentally leading him on? And then it's like, he's going to get mad at me if I'm not actually interested in him.
This is the same reason why like women love to go to gay clubs.
Right.
It's like
there's so much less pressure.
Yeah. Yeah. It is an interesting thought to have because as we know, BL originated from yaoi, which is the Japanese genre that was created. And I did a little reading on like what yaoi was and like how it was created. And it was created for women during a time when I think there was some type of like war depression going on in Japan, and like they needed to like liven up society again, and so they created this thing for women. And it's one of those things where it's just like watching these two guys usually in this like super pure sweet romantic way where you're like you can imagine yourself sometimes imagine yourself in this situation. I think there's just truly just like a wholesomeness that we don't get in Western media a lot of times too, where you're like, oh, he just like pinky touched him.
Well, and like even when it becomes dramatic, it's never like the love always wins through or unsolvable. I mean, also there is something to like the culture of BL with the ship work and the boys, right? So you and I have talked about this at length. I read this article like a long time ago because I call myself a professional fangirl because like I have been a fangirl of something my entire life. Like this is not a new hobby to me to be fangirling. Like it's always been something for as long as I can remember. And like I've always gone hard. And so I read this article a while back about like why do women fangirl, right? Like why does fangirl?
Yeah.
And why, and like the article delved into like actually why it's important to have like celebrity crushes, especially for women and especially for like girls as they're learning about themselves and finding what they like or don't like and think, you know what I mean, in terms of like the person they want to be with and like who they want to fall in love with. And like the reason that it's healthy to fangirl and that it's healthy to have celebrity crushes specifically is because, again, like kind of speaking to like there is no pressure, right? Like you can love this person, but there's never a chance of them loving you back is the thing. And like when there's not a chance of like that love or those feelings being reciprocated, there's zero pressure. Like you are very free to explore like what you're physically attracted to, who you're physically attracted to, you know, how, if you like, you know, when people speak a certain way or what type of personality is more appealing to you, that kind of thing, without there being any implication of that ever coming back and you having to confront that. And so you as a fan can explore some extremes that you maybe couldn't explore in a way with like a real person, right? With like somebody in your real life. And it really helps you like develop a healthy understanding of like who you are and like what your preferences are. And you know, and a lot of times it comes down to like personality is like, well, I am more attracted to people that speak in this way or that carry themselves in this way, right? But there's never like you never have to do anything about it, which is super healthy for especially a girl who is still trying to decide whether or not she actually wants to do something about it. And so if you were to try that on with somebody in your real life, you may get into a situation where you have to take it to a physical level, but you're not necessarily ready for that. Versus you can do that and you can do it very openly. And you can be like, I love you. And you can like declare your love and you can, right? Like you can have all of these experiences in a very, very open way. And it's almost this like pure love coming back to you because, right, like you can imagine how they would be back to you and you can then like figure out how it is that you want to be loved. And so I think that that's also attractive is that like in the culture of BL, we have a lot of ship work. We have a lot of like fan service. We have a lot of like storying fans and like telling fans we love them and like whatever, like doing all this stuff for fans. And
it's a reciprocation of everything that fans put out there. So whereas like fan service a lot of times can feel like a little too much sometimes, or like you're overwhelmed by it because like you're not sure what it is. It is that exchange where like fans put so much into these artists, especially these Thai artists, where you see like money bouquets and like they do these tuk-tuks and like they do billboards and all that stuff. And so they feel like a little bit of the reciprocation is them doing their job, which is the ship work, which is fan service, which is all these things where it's like, if you're looking at it from the outside, or if you're looking at it from a more like realistic or cynical view, you're like, oh, this feels fake. Oh, this feels too much. I mean, like we've talked about it from the K-pop sense of like, we're like, okay, like we understand that like we're just here so you can buy that like Gucci bag right now. Like that's what we're doing here. But like they've worked their whole lives to like sing and dance, and we consume
quite
it. And
frankly, like
I want them to
Kino,
have that
baby,
Gucci.
I love you so much. You have that you have that Gucci bag. How many albums I gotta buy? Like, yes.
And so I think that's part of it, is if we look at fan service in this like fun, awesome, just like in the ship work, in this exchange.
Well, and you've said before that like you kind of have to go into it with like no expectation, right? Like you're doing it for yourself. Like I fangirl because it's fun for me, right? Like this is a fun hobby for me.
And if I don't like a Mew Golf level ship, then maybe I go over to like, I don't know, like
I feel like Joffers is like a step down where they're sweet and they do the ship work and they clearly have a relationship.
I was gonna say Taesua, but I was like, that ship doesn't exist.
Yeah. I feel like you just have Sia.
Yeah.
Like Sia is his own ship. Right. I ship Sia with Sia.
You know what's funny? If you look at Dumundi, you see a range of ship work. So you have Xenu who play it like real hard, and then probably a step under them is Max maybe Matt. like a Jimmy Tommy.
Oh,
because they're pretty affectionate.
Yeah.
And then you have Net James, who are also like, they're big cat and mouse, but like Net is pretty affectionate. There's a little bit of a chase happening, and then probably Max Nat, because you have more of like the Penong situation,
yeah.
And then you have Yim and Tudor, who are just starting out, who are like still trying to figure out, like they just published some really cute photos of them on this like beach trip, like with their arms around each other. So it's like it's like very new. So it's interesting to look at like a range of the ship work. So like if you don't like certain ship work, there are fans that do, but like go to it. It's like Goldilocks and the Three Ships.
Right.
Like,
you gotta find the bull that's just right. Yeah. You gotta find the boys that are just right. No, I mean, I think that like there are a lot of reasons that women like it so much, but I think it really boils down to like, trust no man, but you can trust these men. Yeah. Right. In the sense that like there is no chance, like you don't have to be afraid of these men. Yeah. Because
it's a parasocial relationship.
It's a parasocial relationship, which are very important. And as women, like we have to be on some level afraid of every man that we come across, that we interact with, right? Like even your like coworkers, schoolmates, right? Like you have to be worried, like, am I gonna set him off? Am I gonna like be jokey and accidentally have it come off as flirting? And then, but what if I'm not interested? And then I have to figure that out for myself. Like when you're walking home,
literally V-dome.
When you're walking home, right? Like you have to carry, like you're taught to like carry your keys like between your fingers, right? Like you are taught to, if you park in a garage, to look on both sides of your car, only unlock your driver's side door, and then as soon as you sit down, lock your car, right? Like you are taught these things, but with these men, there's no risk, right? Like you don't have to be afraid.
They have each other.
They have each other, and like the game we're all playing is that they wouldn't be interested in you even if they did see you, right? And so like there's not a threat, right? And I think that a lot of men take that like. And like you see men kind of like push back against that, where they'll be like, well, I'm not a threat, and you assume that about me. And it's like, you're right, it's not all men, but it's enough men that that women can't risk it.
It's the men collective and the women collective. Sure, there are outliers, and sure, like it's not a majority, but like it's the collective of like what.
And this is not to say that there are not like
experiences.
female predators, right? Like the like female predators exist and are real and like hurt men. Like this is a thing.
Sure.
But as a woman, you are just like, it's ingrained
in
you from such like a young age to be afraid of men. And I think what it comes down to with BL is like it's finally a man you don't have to be afraid of. Like, trust no men, but you could trust these men.
Oh, that's such a great note to end on. There are truly so many more unanswerable questions, and we have them daily.
Every day.
Every day we like talk even more. So if you have unanswerable questions, again, put them in the comments, because
if you have answers to any of these questions,
I feel like
we've called on some specific boys. We've called on Jump.
Yeah.
We've called on Boom.
At Reply Them.
Ask them
yourselves.
These things.
Yeah. Chris a few times.
Chris Strickland.
So Tay. I feel
if you know Tay-Tuan, if you're listening.
Truly. Okay. We have merch.
Shop.letstalkbl.com.
Yes. This has been Let's Talk BL. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow all things Let's Talk BL at Let's Talk BL.
See you next time.